This is Nicole Johnson Starr and Kevin Lake with the PTSD Retreat Radio Talk Show, Two Whackos and Key Lime Pie. You know, Kevin and I were just discussing, we keep running over our time, so folks, if you hear it end off, just ignore that, and we're, what's the word, rambling anyway, so, but Kevin's got a point that there's a lot of stuff. We finished with the last one where it was saying, you know, he doesn't have a problem with corporations, and I told him, I said, it's not the corporations, it's just people in general. It doesn't matter where they are in the world. This is a worldwide event where we're doing this, and I just, yeah. Anyway, you can go ahead and ramble on again. I'll interrupt when I feel like it.
Well, we were just talking about the importance of being aware, you know, and I was talking about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, which is twice the size of the state of Texas, and it's made up predominantly of plastic bags. I'm putting this on my Facebook wall right now with a picture. Guys, it all ends up somewhere. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
and
the sea life eats at the, you know, and I'm not a greener. I'm not some tree-hugging hippie. I mean, my father ran the largest hardwood lumber mill in the state of West Virginia for 40 years.
And for the record, folks, I do hug trees. I do hug trees.
I hug them too. I'm like, oh, you're going to make a beautiful coffee table someday, or oh, you're going to.
Oh.
I'm into, you know, I support selective, responsible harvesting of natural resources. However, I don't think that involves clear cutting and then mountaintop mine removal, which is destroying my great state of West Virginia. They just, instead of digging the coal out, they're tearing the whole mountaintop off now. You know, hey, yeah, we need it. If you stop coal mining, 50% of the nation's electricity will no longer be available to you. 50% of the electricity in America is generated from coal that comes out of mines in West Virginia. And a large percentage of the world's energy is generated from coal. Here in the Philippines, they burn coal. They import coal from West Virginia coal mines. So it's important. But just be responsible with how you take it. Guys and girls, if you're going to take your loaf of bread and your pack of Winston's home from the supermarket in a plastic bag, reuse it a couple times as a trash bag. Make sure you throw it in the proper receptacle. Don't let it blow. After you listen to this show, the next time you go outside, pay attention to how many plastic bags you see blowing around aimlessly. They're like tumbleweeds now. It's the modern tumbleweed of the 21st century. And I saw one sticking out of a cat's butt the other day, so I did not adopt this cat and give it a good home as an assassin here to kill my neighbor's roosters.
I laugh, folks, but he's probably serious.
I am.
Sorry.
Until these stories appear in my next novel, then it's fiction. Something like that.
Okay, I shouldn't laugh. I'm not laughing anymore. Go ahead.
Hey, you're laughing at me. I'll take offense to it.
You'll live.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I let that part of it behind me. My skin's not so thin anymore.
You guys, when we laugh at each other, know that we can handle it. So, we've already established a wonderful friendship in the fact that he can pick on me and vice versa, and he calls me on my stuff, as you heard in the last segment. When I am filled with false pride, he has no problem with calling me on it, and I'm so grateful. So, just let it ride.
Yeah, got another listener. Hey, what's up to my old buddy Ryan Lotz from the Virginia Army National Guard.
Woo!
Yeah, that's where we met. Gosh, Ryan, I haven't seen you in a few years. Good to see you're listening. And he just commented, plastic bags equals a new tumbleweed. I guess he liked that comment.
Awesome.
I don't like that. I like the comment. Yeah, Ryan, it's so switch to paper. So whatever, take your same plastic bags back. What we do here is when we buy our eggs at the store, they come in these plastic containers, 12 in each container.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the stores here in the Philippines, you can either buy them in the container or you can just pick fresh eggs out of the stack. Because remember, it's a poor nation. And guys, buying eggs by the dozen is a luxury that I enjoy here because of my circumstances, but a lot of folks around the world don't have that luxury. Sometimes they can only afford to buy 1 or 2 eggs, scramble it up and eat it with a kilo of rice, and it's their family's dinner.
Wow.
Well, what we do is we'll take our plastic egg containers with us back to the supermarket when we go, and we take the eggs from the open egg baskets and fill our, this is just one way you can recycle. Hey, look at this. Here's proof in the pudding. I'm going to unplug. I don't know if you see because the light in the garage or what. See?
Oh.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I see it.
These are our egg containers. We do not throw these away. We keep them. Every now now and then we forget to take an old one to the store, and so we end up buying it like this. But we go out of our way to take these to the store, and then here's my plastic bags. These will not. I mean, I reuse these 3 or 4 times each before they are done with, and that's only because they've gotten so many holes in them.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I'm not some weird tree-hugging, grain-eating hippie freak. It's just, guys, it all ends up somewhere, you know?
And it's
I mean,
it is important.
In the past, and I've worked for large corporations. I'm telling you, I'm not this crazy left-wing tree-hugging nut, guys. I've been around the world. I've been to nearly 20 different countries, and I see what happens. And you know, I used to hate the EPA, and they're probably strict in a lot of ways, but I'm thankful now that I live in the third world where the EPA does not exist, where the SPCA does not exist, and God bless any organization that would try to take care of animals. And you see the things that happen in the world when you're taken out of that comfort of middle-class America, where everything's just so peachy and you can drive down entire highway systems and not see a piece of litter go through entire subdivisions and not see garbage. I mean, guys, it breaks my heart. What a tangent I'm on here again, but if my internet service would stay connected, Nicole, I'd walk you around the corner. You'd see my yard, it's beautiful. Once I go outside this wall, walk around the corner, it's not so beautiful. What's typical of the entrance and exit points of subdivisions here in the third world, and I'm not just picking on the Philippines, I've seen it everywhere I've been in other countries outside of European countries and North American countries, is, you know, okay, the trash trucks come here every Thursday. We put our trash out every Thursday. And I worked hard on reducing the amount of trash we throw out. Once you exit the subdivision, you've got a giant garbage pile on the left and you've got a giant garbage pile on the right, because people don't want to wait for trash day. If they've got a bag of trash full, they'll give it to their kids and say, throw this in the pile. I almost chased a man down on his motorcycle one day and beat the face off of him because we were behind him on our motorcycle. Dude's carrying a bag of Jollibee, and guys, this is a middle-class Filipino man. He lives in my subdivision. He actually works, his wife works. They have a nice house. Well, they had Jollibee. That's like the McDonald's of the Philippines. They specialize in fried chicken, though, not burgers, and the burgers they do have really suck real bad. So, anyway, but I don't eat much beef anymore, so it doesn't matter. Dude's going down the street with his bag of leftover Jollibee and Jollibee styrofoam garbage and throws it in the trash pile. So I pull up beside him on my motorcycle and I say, "Excuse me, sir, but I think you dropped something back there." He goes, "Hello?" That's what they say when they're surprised. "Hello? I did not drop something." I said, "Sir, I think you dropped your family's dinner back there." Well, I knew it did. I was being a smartass, right? They don't understand the American sarcasm, sense of humor, or sense of sarcasm because they learn English from a literal sense. So if you say anything that's not literal, like if you say it figuratively or sarcastically, they don't understand it. They don't get it. So I'm being sarcastic as heck with this guy. "Oh, I think you dropped your family's Jollibee dinner." "No, I did not drop that." I said, "Well, yeah, I saw this bag of Jollibee garbage going to a big bag of garbage where those other idiot, lower than human life forms throw their garbage. I think you should go pick that up." "No, that is garbage, so I throw it there." "Well, sir, the trash truck comes to our subdivision every Thursday. I do not want to wait till Thursday. I just throw it there. You have a problem with it? You go back to your country." And I'm like, "Sir, I know this isn't my country, but it's my planet. We share the earth." You know? He laughs at me. He laughs at me. And tells me that if I want a problem, then by God, he'll make sure I have a problem. And he says, "You want a problem, Joe?" That's our name here, Joe. And Dearly was with me, and she was saying, "Stop, just go, just go, just go." And I shook my head. I said, "No, I don't want a problem. I'm sorry that I called you out for acting like a lower than life form total piece of crap for throwing your garbage down." And he just laughed. He laughed at me. He said, "It's okay, Joe. Just go back to America." And I drove on. Well, what that problem would have been was 3 months later, someone would have come up behind me with a 22 caliber pistol and shot me in the back of the head. You can hire assassins here for approximately $127 US.
Wow.
And I'm not scared, but I'm not stupid. I mean, you know, I've been working on learning to pick my battles here, and one of the battles I have to pick is that I can't fight the battle. I have to understand and accept in my head that yes, these people do think their mother's going to come along behind them and pick up their garbage. Well, at least that's how I tell myself. The fact is they don't even think that. The fact is they don't care. And they're not ignorant. They're apathetic. They're very intelligent. Most of them are highly educated. Not most of them, but a lot of them. They're as smart as you and I. IQ, they'll match up. It goes to people around the world. I mean, we're all people. Some of us care about things like Mother Earth, and some people don't. They don't care. That guy knows it's wrong, and it's ignorant to throw his garbage at the opening of the subdivision. And he doesn't care. And I can beat the brown off of him, and he's not going to care.
Yeah.
You know. So the thing is, I care, breaks my heart. I hear Mother Earth crying every time I see that happen. But I gotta choose my battles. I gotta make sure I recycle my egg cartons, reuse my plastic bags, make sure I raise my 2-year-old son not to throw his garbage can on the ground when he's done with it. And he doesn't. You know? He's 2 years old, but he cares. He's been taught to care.
And that's how it should be. No, so. I mean, my daughter knows that. She knows if I ever catch her throwing something on the ground, she would be doing push-ups for life after cleaning up the street. So, and matter of fact, she even gets fussy when I throw out a piece of gum. Mom, do you know that takes 7 years to break down?
Yeah, people swallow that garbage. But you pass it out without. I mean, I guess a couple of chemicals will go into your body, but most of it doesn't.
Yeah, and I still chew gum because it does come in handy for when I'm having a bad day. And it's a lot better than me using huh?
You know who Warren Buffett is, right?
Yeah.
What do you call him? The Oracle of Omaha. He's the world's second richest man. He goes back and forth with Bill Gates. Big conglomerate. I was like KFC, Pepsi, Dairy Queen. Well, you know, he never ate candy even when he was a kid. This just shows how his mind works. And this is going back to my old stockbroker days when I used to read about guys like him. But someone asked him when he was like 8 years old if he wanted a sucker after he got his hair cut or something like that. And he said, no, he doesn't eat candy. And they said, why? He said, because candy leads to cavities. Cavities lead to dental bills. Dental bills lead to using money unwisely in ways it doesn't need to be used. You simply take care of your teeth.
Wow.
The second richest, sometimes the richest man in the world. And that barbershop where that conversation took place, he noticed there were always all these old men hanging out there all day. He asked the barber if he could put a pinball machine in there and you know, give the barber half the intake, and he'd keep the other half. And that was his first business. I think he was 10 years old by the time he asked to do that.
That is a really interesting thought because I have never looked at it that way.
You know, I don't eat candy or chew gum. My kid doesn't, and my kids before didn't when they lived, you know, with me in the same household. It's just, I had one daughter, Emily, had a abscess tooth one time. Had to get it fixed, and it cost $1,000 in cash.
Oh.
This was back in America. Here, that same procedure would cost about $10 or $12. And that's not, you know, it's because, I mean, the doctors here don't have to spend 1/3 to 1/2 of their annual income in malpractice insurance to protect themselves from the lawsuits, you know. Because it doesn't happen here. It just doesn't happen outside. 55% of the world's attorneys are located inside the United States of America, and the U.S. makes up only 5% of the Earth's world surface population. Most places around the world just shake their head and wonder, what in the heck are we doing to ourselves? Hey, we have another listener. I guess everyone wants shout-outs. Hello, Jason Wright, an old buddy of mine, just reconnected with today. It's been a long time, but he's listening. Nice radio show. He's a combat vet, too. I'm not going to give away his personal information, but Jason, thanks for listening. So
wow.
You started reaching out and touch people if I shut up long enough about plastic bag. I don't know. People are listening.
Well, you know what? Sometimes that needs to be I'm personally, if you come over to our place, you know that we like to use things. If I don't have to throw it away, I don't. And if I can compost it, I would. I get to have my husband be on board with that. And he's listening in the other room, so he'll probably say something to me later for bringing him up again. But, yeah, I'm glad people are listening. And there was something that was on, somebody said something, or I read it somewhere today. A veteran push. What's the word for another word for push? But the veterans. Say again.
Condensed? No.
Okay, I'm having brain farts of late because I did something I shouldn't have. I ate some food that I shouldn't have. When we have veterans that are veterans are making the change. They are the ones that are creating change in this world. Okay? And it's a veteran pushed change, because when veterans are listening, we don't just listen. We listen and go, that's a good idea. Maybe I can do that.
Yeah, we try it because we're crazy.
Yeah, and it's also not only that, but when veterans make up their minds that they're going to do something, there's no let's hem and haw and talk about it. We just say, okay, that needs to be done. Let's get it done. And so it is.
We don't know what defeat or retreat. We don't know what those things mean.
Yeah.
Before we were veterans, we were soldiers. Some of us still are. So I'm not. You are. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will be for a long time to come if I get my way about it.
God bless you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
And I'm still very thankful for everybody else that's still serving and who also serve too.
Oh, goodness, we get to stay that way because that's the only way the next generation learns that we need to be appreciative of service. And if you're a veteran and you know someone else that's serving and having a rough time, darn Skippy, if you don't tell them, I will personally track you down and kick you in your rear as I say thank you for your service. Because, and I say that with the most love in my heart, because you're a veteran and you can hack it. But I'm telling you, we are the ones that get to make the change occur. When it comes to our services, when it comes to what gets to be done for us, it's really up to us to make sure they know what is needed. It's not something that gets to wait. And I can go on and on about that, but I will behave at this point forward. And just say, change gets to happen. And that change is up to us.
Earlier and got sidetracked again and went off on a tangent talking about feral cats killing roosters or something. Was beat the VA up for your benefits, but guys, when you're looking for actual, real, emotional, mental support, go to the PTSD retreat, go to your fellow vets, go to the vet support groups online. Be careful though, a lot of them are angry, and I'm seeing some that are getting even more and more angrier or whatever the proper term is. My editor's not here. But yeah, go after your money and your health care and all those things that we were promised in our contract when we signed up. But find another veteran, and you guys know this. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here. But that's where Nicole, talking to you is where my weekly sanity comes from. I mean, being able to sit here and talk to you about these issues, you and I can relate to because we've been through them together. We know what it's like to deploy to a combat zone, be away from the country we love for so long, to come back to find that other people in our life decided that our lives would be much different than it was before we left for us without our saying, involving our children, involving our financial circumstances, all these things. And, they say in dealing with recovery with alcoholics and drug addicts, so one of the reasons those groups such as Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous have been so successful and have baffled the medical industry, well, there's two reasons. Number one, they put their faith in a higher power. Some call it God, some call it whatever, but the medical profession does not understand that. They can't get their scopes on it. But then also because they believe it takes another alcoholic or drug addict to really understand and relate to another alcoholic or drug addict. And I've been finding that in regard to the world of our issues as veterans, it really takes another veteran who's been there and done that to be able to understand and relate. It's not like, a lot of the majority of military spouses, or I'd say more than half are supportive. They're wonderful. I've got, buddies I served with whose wives and whose husbands are good friends of mine, and they've never served. But they're supportive. They would never turn their back on their spouse. I mean, I'll give a shout out to my friend Candy Wright in Washington State, who doesn't just support her husband John, who's still, in service, but me and his other friends and other members of the group. She led the family readiness for the guard thing to make sure everybody's staying in touch. Not all spouses take the children of the soldier away from them before they come home and say, oh, I'm doing what I had to do to protect myself and my kid because I know he or she is just going to come home all crazy. And I just happened to find the man of my dreams while he was in Iraq. And he has nothing to do with why I'm taking my kids away. Well, I'm not even going to go down that road.
Yeah, we'll just leave that alone. But we'll put it this way: not all spouses are pieces of. Not all spouses. Thank you.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're not.
And matter of fact,
Maybe that's
most
how
of them
they're
are
really.
exactly opposite.
Yeah,
They are
they
the
are.
best individuals because they care and they keep caring. And
They
they won't
do, but
stop it.
just like say you're an army wife and your husband's on his third deployment. He's going to be gone for a year. And you talk to your friend across the street from you whose husband is a securities dealer for Bank of America Securities, and he's at his home office in New York for 3 days on a business trip, and you're saying, oh, my husband's in Afghanistan for the second time. He was in Iraq once. He's been gone for 6 months. It's another 6 months. All these, and then the other woman looks at you and goes, oh, honey, I know exactly how you feel. My husband's away on a business trip. Now, how those army wives keep from punching women that say those things in the face, I'll never understand. But it's kind of like that.
They put up with army husbands. So,
Huh?
I said they put up with army husbands. That's how they managed to handle it.
There you go. But yeah, it's kind of like, I talk to civilians, and I love so many supportive civilians out there, but I don't talk about these things that much anymore with them because, frankly, too many of them just look at you and tell you you're lying. When you talk about going for 4 months in a combat zone without getting a paycheck, you're supposed to get paid every 2 weeks, and you get 4 months behind on child support, and then you're getting all this, and they look at you and they go, "Oh, come on, you don't expect me to do that." Gosh, if my boss didn't pay me, I'd go to HR, and by God, I'd have a check in my hand before I left the office that day, or I'd call the state's union that supports the workers, or just, guys, this is freaking military. You're not an employee. You are government property. And there's this thing, I address this in the book, there's this thing called Stockholm Syndrome. When you're there and it's happening to you and you're suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, yeah, when you're sitting back here, once your deployment's done, you say, gosh, I should have gone to the Inspector General the minute that SOB told me that I'm not allowed to go check on my pay. But yeah, when you're not suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, but when you're there and the mortars are going off all around you, and you hate this guy and you want to shoot him in the face, but at the same time, you're looking to him for leadership, and this is the guy that's going to take you home. It's just crazy. It's crazy. But other veterans like you, Nicole, you understand when I talk to you about these things because you've been there. So that's the beauty of reaching out and talking to other veterans. And Nicole, you were talking about how it's veterans that are doing the things that need to get done. That's because we understand,
And not only that, but veterans will trust veterans.
Yeah.
I talk to providers a lot, and I've told them before, you guys need to hire more veterans, who have combat experience, because that is going to get veterans who are not willing to come and talk to somebody an opportunity, a way to bridge that gap. It's a way for them to bridge the gap by hiring veterans and having veterans talk with veterans. It will open doors and bridge wide gaps that really deserve to be taken down. Just a personal opinion.
Sitting here chatting with some vets that are listening on the show. I've already said their names. Some of them got them in the mud. But
yeah, I
guess we can relate to each other. So, hey, some of you guys listen to the show, contact. I'm gonna put the link for the PTSD retreat on my Facebook page, and I know you're online because you're talking to me while I'm on the show. I had somebody ask. Somebody wants to help you, Nicole, but they don't know exactly what it is they would be doing or how much time they could put. And so I told them to message you directly to PTSD retreat.
Yeah. And you know what, folks? For those of you guys that want to know, I was just saying, for those of you that want to know, give me how much time you can give per week, and I will give you a job to do. And I will make sure it's something that you will enjoy, because I don't believe in having people do something they don't enjoy. I'm doing something I absolutely love doing. I love serving our veteran population. Well, darn Skippy, you should be able to enjoy what you're doing as well with the PTSD retreat. So please just let me know how much time you can give. I guarantee you I'll find something for you that works for you. I have way too much on this list here. So, but, a really good way for me to understand what your expertise is share your resume or talk to me and tell me what it is you'd like to do. So,
one of my old buddies, Mr. Kyle Ringheisen. What's up, Kyle? From my deployment in Iraq has been in touch, and he's interested in helping Nicole. So I'm telling him to contact you at the PTSD retreat. Hey, he's got people skills. He'd be great to answer the phones. Oh, he's a funny guy, great soldier. It was an honor to serve with him. I haven't talked to him since our Iraq days. Maybe after a couple of drills there before. I think.
You know what would be really cool is just if I had my way, I would have nothing but veterans that are on here, because then it'd just be awesome to be able to say, yeah, you're talking to a veteran every single time you call. You're a veteran with issues, or if you're a spouse with issues. Say again?
I said you have got instant credibility. When that veteran who was angry, who was depressed, who was suicidal calls in, and he hears that voice, or she hears that voice on the other end of the line say, hey brother, hey sister, thanks for calling, just want to let you know up front I'm a veteran too, you know, I was in Iraq, or I was in Afghanistan, or you know, whatever. Boom, you've got instant credibility, you've got instant bond. And that's what these people need. It's so much different than calling the old free VA number, being asked to push 1 for English, 2 for Espanol, then being given, 27 different options for the department, then being put on hold, then getting a recorded message saying that person is unavailable, please leave your name and message, and they will get back to you within the next calendar year. It's different when you can call someone who's been there and done that and can relate and can help.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me put this link on my page.
Yeah. And
I think you're going to get inundated with volunteers, Nicole, after the show. And you know what? I think that's exactly what you need. You just didn't want to ask for it. So I'm glad we talked and I could beat this out of you.
Thank you for beating it out of me. May I have another?
Sure. Here's 15 more volunteers.
Awesome. So, and folks, I'm going to tell you right now, thank you so much for coming forward. You hear Kevin and I talk every week, every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. I've got another appointment in my head. Eastern Standard Time, every Tuesday, unless he's got weather, we are on here. And it means a lot to me when veterans are saying, hey, I'll do it. I'll step forward. Thank you guys so much, because it's what I've come to expect. I've grown up with the military. I was married to it. I am now serving in it. And again, and I'm telling you guys, there's nothing like our family connection that we have from serving. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what your financial status is. It doesn't matter your color. It doesn't matter about your religion. The moment you put that uniform on, you are instantly a brother or a sister. And that's the cool thing. We don't fight for politics. We don't stand there to shoot a bullet or take a bullet for any reason. It's strictly because our buddy next to us, and it's not a buddy, just a buddy. It's your brother, it's your sister, that's standing there. It's your mentor, a sergeant who's been there before you. He'll throw you down to save your life, and that deserves to be continued. Continue to serve, even if it's not with the PTSD retreat. No matter how it is, if you just go out and tell somebody, hey, I saw you weren't feeling well and wanted to know how you're doing, you're going to make their day. So
yeah, we learned at basic training, we leave no man or woman behind. We don't leave our brothers and sisters in arm behind. And in this band of brothers and sisters of veterans, that holds true not just while we're in the combat zone or back in garrison. It holds true once we're finished with service in either of those places. And, Nicole, I belong to groups, I belong to teams. I mean, I used to eat, sleep, and breathe distance running. I ran track in high school and college. I had guys that, from my college cross country and track days, we ran 70 miles a week together. I mean,
holy cow!
I know, right? And I haven't talked to those guys in 15 years.
Yeah.
But I've got brothers and sisters I served in Iraq with, a dozen at least, I bet, that in some way I'm in contact with on a regular basis. At least every month I will have contact with 12 to 20 of my brothers and sisters that I've served with. And we've been home for more than 3 years now. And some of them I haven't seen since that time, because we all went our separate ways. We were a National Guard unit. And I made friends in the Army. Gosh, my old drill instructor, basic training, Byron Humphreys. He was an E7. He is now a first sergeant. What's up, Top? Giving you a shout out if you're listening. He's stationed up in Alaska. We stay in touch. Now, I was supposed to hate this guy, right? Because he was my head drill sergeant, but that's not the case. I ended up loving this guy and having more respect for him than most people I've ever met in my life. He set us down the first day. We were all scared. We're shaking this guy. He's Ranger, airborne. He's deployed like 7 times. He's like maybe 5'10", about 190 pounds of solid rock muscle, 330 PT score kind of guy. You know what that means. That means he's in wicked shape.
Yeah.
And he just looks like he could chew nails, you know, and he can. But he set us down and he said, here I was, a 33-year-old bro. I'm 2 years older than First Sergeant Humphrey. And at the time, I was like 33. He's 31. I'm shaking in my boots thinking, oh my gosh, this guy's going to kill me in the next 14 weeks. And he told us, he said, guys, I don't yell. I don't scream. I'm not mean. I'm not violent. I can be. And he said, maybe once upon a time I would have been, but we're a nation of war, and I know that 90% of you that are in front of me here today, within a year, are going to be in Iraq or Afghanistan. He said, it's my job to make sure that you come home. He said, you act like grown men, I'll treat you like grown men.
That's
said,
awesome.
Come on, let's get started. So let's get started. We went into whatever training we had to do. And this guy was not a jerk. He wasn't all these bad words you don't want me to say that I won't out of respect for you and other people that are listening.
Thank
you. He was
you.
a motivator. And we never hated this guy. And he didn't play all the FF games that they play in the Army to be mean. He did what he needed to do to make you better. And he's still serving. He's stationed in Alaska. And wonderful human being.
You know, it's... I have a sergeant, and you've heard me mention his name before. He's now First Sergeant David Sauer. He's actually almost finished. This guy, I'll speak for myself. I know there's others that called him this too, but I called him my deployment dad. To this day, I still stay in contact with him. I'm not even in the same state. I don't have anything to do with that state very much unless I'm over there for legal issues or my father, or whatever. But I will stop in, I will call him, and I will check in with him just because I still value his wisdom. Still to this day. That guy saved my career and saved more than that while we were in Afghanistan. And he stood up for me when there were other things that were going on that individuals didn't appreciate. And to this day, if he says, Nick, I need you, I will be on a plane faster than you can say lickety spit. Because he's family to me.
Yeah, I just messaged the first sergeant. So many memories. You know what? I've got my complaints, and if you read my afterword of off switch, I complain about. I'm pro-soldier. We talked about this before. I'm not anti-military by any means, but I don't want to say I'm pro-military. I will say I'm pro-soldier, though. But I have met so many wonderful human beings. And I was talking about my basic training drill instructor, Byron Humphreys, first sergeant up there. Fort Richardson, Alaska is where he's at.
So if anyone's in that area, make sure you let him know that Kevin's talking crap about him on the radio.
I just sent him a message that said, hey, I've just been talking crap about you for 5 minutes on the radio. So I don't know what time of day it is there, but he did threaten me one time, and I'm so thankful to this day he did, because I mentioned my old track days. I kind of kept up with staying physically fit, but I'd gotten out of it. I was old, but I went to basic training at 33 years old, and one of my biggest pride and joys about my military life is that I had the highest PT score in my entire brigade for that entire cycle. Nicole, the scale's 300. I scored a 360 on the PT score, PT test.
Holy cow.
In 2 minutes, I did 95 push-ups. In 2 minutes, I did 100 sit-ups. And then when we did the time 2-mile run, I ran it in 11 minutes and 18 seconds, I believe. All of this at 33 years old. And I was able to outpace these guys that were almost literally half my age, that had just finished their high school school football career, high school wrestling and track career. This one guy was bragging it was all state because, in cross country. And three of them beat me in the run. I think there were three people that did more push-ups than me, and there were three people that did more sit-ups than me. But nobody did the outrageously high number on the scale of all three activities. Like the push-up guy couldn't run, the running guy couldn't do push-ups. Well, I managed to do them all. Well, First Sergeant Humphrey, top now, who back then was E7 Sergeant First Class Humphrey, you know how all the platoons kind of rival each other. There were 4 platoons.
Yeah.
So me and this other guy, the runner from New Jersey, the 18-year-old kid, we were tied. I was like 10 points ahead of him, and I had to make sure he didn't beat me by any more than like 10 seconds on the run or something. He'd been smoking me by 30 seconds on the run. Well, First Sergeant Humphrey, back then, Drill Sergeant Humphrey, gets in my face, and he's angry, and he's yelling, and he says, if you let this guy beat you in this, because this was the last test, this was a week before basic training, he says, I'm going to take you behind the barracks, and I'm going to beat you down, and I'm going to say you ran into the door and fell down the steps coming out of the shower room, but I will break every effing bone in your body unless you win this thing, and blah, blah. You've had the highest score of the whole cycle, you've come too far to lose now. Well, he motivated me, man. I couldn't wait for that gun to go off. I almost the guy on the run out right, but then he laughed afterwards. He laughed. He said, man, you were scared. You should have seen you were shaking when I was trying to beat you up. Man, I never beat you up, man. Hey, way to go. You won this thing,
I love it. Oh, my gosh. I laugh because I remember my own experience of the same.
A mile in high school, if my track coach would have talked to me like First Sergeant Humphrey did before every race, I would have been the state champion in the mile and the 2 mile and the 800 in high school. I mean, he got me going.
I laugh because not just because of your own experience, but it reminds me of mine. There is nothing like a good military motivator. And, folks, it's not the same, it's not hazing. And it's not treating you like crap, because I will tell you there is a difference, because when you know someone cares about you and they're willing to put their butt on the line for you every single time and give 100% all balls to the wall. Okay. I'm going to call that crazy going forward.
We might be over on time.
Actually, no, we're not. I am watching. Yay. But we've still got about 9 minutes. Well, actually make that 7 minutes. But when that's going on and you know they care about you and they are willing to do whatever's necessary to make sure you are your best, that is when they can tell you, I will knock you flat, put your teeth back in your 6 where I just pulled your 12 out of, and I will make sure you go, and if you don't do it, I'll do it again. You know they care, because you also know they will do it to make sure you're better. That's a great motivator in the most quirky sort of way. If you were a civilian hearing that for the first time, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I just got threatened. No, you didn't get threatened. You were made a promise. He just promised you what he's going to do for you. And it's done with love. In the weirdest way.
L-O-V-E, with the love.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jackson used to say when he cursed out his employees that work for him.
And
I say that's with the love. Me and my dearly, we make fun of that when we watch that. This is his greatest, his final. I love Michael Jackson, world's greatest entertainer. Anyway, I feel like a big tough Army guy there, and I start talking about Michael Jackson. Wow, what just happened?
I don't know, but something got hijacked. But I will put it this way. Well, now that you brought up Michael Jackson, I will say this. I did see Michael Jackson walking during the inaugural stuff. Yeah, he was walking around there doing pictures. So if you guys didn't get over to the inaugural, you missed out on pictures of Michael Jackson. But anyway, it was interesting. Oh, but well, now you made me lose my thought, Kevin.
Well, you were talking about how they're not really threatening us when they threatened us to beat us. How civilians would take it as a threat, and it's not really a threat when they threaten us.
Yeah, it's just an absolute, with an absolute promise that they will do exactly what they're telling you they'll do, and I expect that, and I know without a doubt that the one time that First Sergeant Sauer told me he would rearrange my anatomy in a much more explicit fashion than I'm saying now, I knew he meant it, but I also knew that if he had to rearrange my anatomy, most likely I deserved it.
Well, First Sergeant Humphrey, during I've made fun of him so much for this. During combatives week, when you learn to do the combatives.
Yes.
That's the Army's hand-to-hand combat. It's a mix between American boxing and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Well, in the infantry, which I was, we all have to get level 1 certified. It's basic training, which means you've got to go through this thing called the punch drill. You get in line, and you go up against this big old ticked-off drill sergeant, and they beat you down. And you've got to get them in the clutch, in the grasp, to where they can't hit you anymore, but you are not allowed to hit them back. If you hit them back, they are allowed to hit you however they want to hit you. There were a couple of old boys from some inner cities and some backwoods farms that just thought they were the baddest thing since Velcro. I remember during basic training lots they were cool, and they hit a couple drill sergeants, and man, they had to bring in janitorial crews to clean the blood up off those mats after that was done, after they decided to do that, because that was But anyway, during combatives week, Drill Sergeant Humphrey told us, he said, "No, guys, you will not beat me. I am competitive. I do not lose." He said, "I will teach you, all these different holds, arm bar, the rear naked choke hold, the collar choke." He says, "But I will revert to sticking my thumb up your butt if I have to beat you when we go one-on-one." Because we all had to fight him at the end. And he meant it. Let's just say, I won't go into details, but I was limping for about a day after I almost had him, man. He was bigger than me, he was stronger than me, but I, too, don't like to lose. It's just my mentality, and that's probably why I'm still among the living with some of the struggles I've faced with my PTSD and my drug addiction.
Yeah.
And guys, let me make this clear. Dearly, I said something the other day about being a recovering drug addict, because I'm not taking my medication for about a year, almost a year now. And this is medication that was prescribed to me from the VA and the Army, Vicodin, all these psychotropic things. Yes, I consider myself a recovering drug addict because I was addicted to drugs, even though those drugs were prescribed to me by my government. I said something the other day about being a drug addict, and Dearly looked at me surprised, and she said, "You're a drug addict?" I said, "Honey," I went and I got all the empty bottles. I keep them on my dresser so I can look at them. I have to hold them in both hands and say, "Honey, remember when I used to take these every day? And then I wouldn't remember periods of my life, and I would drink, and remember I'd run away to another city 2 hours away and come back 3 days later?" And she'd say, "Well, yeah, but you were prescribed. You got those from your doctors at the VA. They're in America."
Okay, I just want to note something right now. Do you know how awesome it is to hear me, not to hear me, but to hear you say, "Do you remember?" and her go, "Well, yeah, but that," and thinking, the fact that you caught her by surprise by saying it.
Yeah.
I think that is so awesome. Because it's not something she sees anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's nice. And,
do you ever think about that?
Oh, yeah. I mentioned this vacation we took last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I always talk about how cheap it is to live here. Once upon a time, we weren't taking vacations. And even though as cheap as it is here, we were always broke because, I've shared this before. I was sober for 7.5 years, and I got on all the crack cocaine U.S. government gave me, and I went on a relapse and drank for 2.5 years before getting sober again. And sober to me means off of all of it, off the booze, off the drugs, all of it, and I am off of all of it. But I was drinking away, by these people's terms, local terms, I was rich here. If you look at my income that I make here, now back home I couldn't even afford rent in the place. But here it made me rich, but still we had no money because anything I had, I drank and drugged.
Yeah.
And spent on my new best friends I'd make every night when I went out drinking. These weren't my friends. They just saw white skin and money and opportunity. And next thing you know, I'm buying a whole bar out. And so, yeah, she doesn't have to see those things anymore. And I don't have to live that way anymore. And I just, my gosh, I had a blackout one night. The engineer came here. They fixed something in our bathroom that day.
Oh, I remember you telling me about this.
Did I tell you about it? Probably offline, right?
Yeah, you did.
Well, I'll share it now with the show, and I know we got a lot of people listening. They're going to hear it, but it happened. In America, if you call somebody to come fix your plumbing, they say I'll be there Monday at 10 a.m. and you end up there Monday at 2 in the afternoon. But at least it's the same day. Well, in the Philippines, you tell your landlady, "Hey, I need this fixed." She says, "Okay." Well, you know, you forget about it, and then 3 months later, somebody shows up at your house to fix something. Well, I have a rule here, and if you're an American or any other foreigner living in a third world nation, especially that's ridden with terrorists like this nation, there's 3 main networks just on my island, and again, I don't give the name of my island on the air because I don't want to come here looking for the American veterans who also is a somewhat decently selling U.S. author back home. They could cut my head off on YouTube and make a bucket food on it. Anyway, when people come to my house and it's night, I don't know who they are and why they're here, they're not coming to my house. Well, this engineer came by the night after that guy fixed that. I was half lit on booze. I was taking my pills. Man, I had these great muscle relaxers. I didn't need them for my back anymore here in the Philippines because of the tropical environment. I don't get the back spasms I got in the U.S. Part of the damage done by the body armor. But man, I had those pills the VA gave me, and I took them anyway. But hell, by then I was taking them recreationally anyway. Now, that was not the VA's intent upon, when they gave them to me, but you know what? I guess we can't really control our addictions as long as we're still feeding them. So that's